Hey, up next on the MARR Rock Show, we have David Sheilds joining us. I believe he's in Belfast this evening. And David, you'll know, did the guitar work on the Storm Zone 3 Kings album. He's got a new project coming out with some guys that I'm going to let him tell you about shortly. So, David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Man, it's my pleasure, and thanks. I hope I didn't keep you up too late. You are in Belfast tonight, right?
Yeah, it's just 9:30. It's just coming up on 9:30 here, so on a Sunday night, and I'm enjoying a couple of beers and pretty much just chilling.
So, we have featured Storm Zone on our show before, and another band that I think you're going to tell us there's some connections to here. So why don't you let folks know a little bit about the project you've got coming up?
Yeah, okay, great, thanks. The new project, we're called Ironheart. It's made up of some pretty established Belfast, Northern Ireland musicians, from various other bands, but all, I think, like a lot of things, we've all either worked together in one time or another through different projects, and, Belfast's quite a small town, there's not, I couldn't tell you how many people there, but, everybody in the local scene knows everybody else, we always had these conversations, we should work together, man, and well, since leaving Storm Zone, it just became the right time to put something. I didn't put it together. The band was had already started. But so we got together. And the album's called Revolution Calls. It's a self-release. It doesn't have there isn't a record company involved at this point. It's very, very early days, and kind of I would say in a similar sort of vein to what earlier Storm Zone maybe was. It's that type of thing, but maybe not quite as... one of the things with Storm Zone is that the sound's evolved, it's changed somewhat, and possibly one of the things that led to us no longer working together. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, give folks a little bit that may not know you yet, but only know you, from possibly the Storm Zone. Like, give us a little bit of your biography, the resume, if you will, like what you've done as a guitarist and some of the bands you've been in.
Oh, yeah, I've been around the local scene for some years, I actually had a break from it for some time as well, so I kind of came back to it around about 2010. Band was called September Cross. We're all great friends, but, like a lot of things, you play a lot of gigs, you start travelling in bands together, and, eventually it comes to an end. The Storm Zone thing really happened, that was nearly 4 years ago. They'd had a bit of a falling out with their previous guitarist, and I was known to the band anyway. Again, it's a small scene. Everybody knows everybody else really in Belfast and sort of beyond in Northern Ireland. So it became the thing to do, and we kind of toured a lot for a good 3.5 years anyway, and it was fun, It was fun, but that's pretty much where I've kind of come back to the metal scene after a bit of a break.
Now, talk about coming back to the metal scene. In your career, let me first ask. I assume Ironheart is going to be similar in style to the Screaming Eagles, Storm Zone stuff, or maybe I shouldn't assume that. Tell me a little bit about what the musical stylings of Ironheart are going to be.
Yeah, I think that a good way of describing us is, it's very middle of the road metal. It's very, there's certainly something in there for everybody, but it's not, there's a certain darkness to it, and personally there's a touch of maybe that power metal type sound in there, which is making me think that the people will make some of that connection with Storm Zone. There's a lot of harmony guitar parts. There's a lot of that kind of thing, and that's something that I've been doing with various bands for years. So I'm very used to it, very comfortable with it. Certainly, Screaming Eagles are quite AC/DC type.
Oh yeah,
they're very kind of meat and potatoes, if you like. But great guys, real good friends of mine. But they would be somewhat different. I think it's just much more of a straight up metal approach.
So, has there ever been, in your career, and you're in that genre, has there ever been a kind of band you wanted to play in that maybe was off to the side, like, or maybe you've already done that? I don't know. Has there ever been is there a secret side guitar kind of love of style of music that you have?
Yeah, Megadeth. I want to play Megadeth. I don't know who that guy is. If they've got him, they need to just get rid of him.
So the really heavy stuff.
Yeah, really, I personally, I think I've got a widely varied musical taste. I listen to a lot of different types of music. I think that if you're just focused totally on metal all the time, it gets a touch repetitive and a touch boring. I don't think you can do that with any genre of music. I grew up listening to Hank Marvin. My father was a big Shadows. I don't know if the Shadows were really a big thing in America.
No, I don't know who they are.
I think the American equivalent was like the Ventures, sort of 60s instrumental guitar music. So I grew up listening to that, and I still have that. It's still a guilty pleasure of mine almost, to listen to a bit of Hank Marvin and just kind of chill out. It's great playing, no distortion. Doesn't hurt your ears so much.
So I guess what people are going to want to know when they hear this is when will we hear the music? Like how long before we'll start hearing? And is it singles or what's going to come out first?
Yeah, well, the album is already it's already there. It's already completed. What we're trying to do with it now is to get some label involvement to try and push it out there, because at the moment that hasn't happened. The band isn't signed. I'm not sure that these days that's the most important thing, and the reality of music today is that album sales just don't stack up. They don't matter. The albums are lost leaders now for tours. So what we fully expect to be doing is some great live shows. Hopefully get onto some tours with some bigger bands. Certainly, again, I keep coming back to it, but Storm Zone certainly did that. The connection there with Saxon, has been touring. I'm lucky enough to be part of it. Touring with Saxon and getting some great support slots with them, and hopefully with Ironheart we'll be able to do something similar.
So what I'm hearing you say is like you've got the album, it's ready to go. It's just you guys have got to package that kind of business decision as to how and when to release it. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, that's basically where we're at the moment. The album is done, and there are some copies of the album. It has been manufactured in very, very small numbers, but those are the kind of things that go to labels and they go to radio stations, they go to that kind of thing, and hopefully we can get some label support on the back of that.
So when you're forming a new band, like what is the timeline for something like that? So you guys, you sit in a room, you say, hey, we're going to form a band. How long from the time, that you guys decided you wanted to work together till you started recording stuff?
The recording was actually ongoing for some time. Sean, the other guitar player, has a studio at home. Similar, very, very similar again to the way Storm Zone were doing, because Steve Moore, the other guitar player in Storm Zone, also had a studio at home, and that's where Three Kings and Zero to Rage, Three Kings, and that Seven Sins album were recorded in Steve's home studio. And I mean, it doesn't sound like a home recording. It's a very, very professional job. So similarly, Sean had been recording for some time, and putting these great songs together. So it's taken some time, and there had been a couple of other guys that had been in and out playing guitar for them, and things just didn't really work out. So for me it was really straight from leaving Storm Zone really to working with Ironheart.
Now, you had mentioned you guys are looking at trying to form some tours. Now, of course, we're over here in the United States. Are you looking at primarily touring the United Kingdom, or does that really just depend on who you might land with?
Yeah, logistically speaking, the United Kingdom makes a lot of sense for us. It's only, it's a very short boat ride, really, with to go across the water. It's not that difficult. The mainland Europe thing certainly did that again with Storm Zone. But it's very much festival shows, fly away gigs, that kind of thing, rather than actually any touring. It's more we would certainly be targeting the UK first, unless somebody from a rock radio station would like to finance us coming to the United
States. Well, we love talking to you. Unfortunately, we would love to be financed ourselves here on the MARR Army Rock Show, so it won't be. Yeah, it won't be from here, but we'd still love to see you come over. Hey, so have you already thought about doing music videos, and do you have one in mind already for the new album?
Yeah, actually, that was talked about there just a week ago. I think we've pretty much decided on the song. The song's called "Industrial Slave." It's a fairly upbeat number, let's say, and we've got some ideas for. And with coming from Belfast, which is an old industrial town, there's plenty of locations for that kind of thing. I think that with a name like Industrial Slave, the setting is going to be fairly standard. I think you can get an idea of how a video like that would come about. So we've been knocking some ideas about, and that's one of the things. I think that's going to be the first one that we're going to work on as a video.
So, I wish you the best of luck. And once again, for folks that may not know, can you just give folks one more overview and just introduce kind of who's in the band for us and where they came from?
Yeah, great. The band is a guy called Stevie K on vocals. He's been around the Irish scene for a long, long time. That's making us all sound very old. There's myself, David Sheilds on guitar. Another guitar is Sean Nelson. He was in Attica Rage before, and another band they had here called Conjuring Fate. Bass, Tom Heaney, who was also in Conjuring Fate with Sean before. They did some extensive touring around, mainly around Ireland, with some UK work. And the drummer's a guy called Andy Munn. He's been in a few of the local bands before, and he does great card tricks. Shocking. Yeah, you don't want to play poker with.
Well, folks, this has been David Sheilds coming to us all the way from Belfast tonight, which is very cool. Glad to have you on the show. The name of the band is Ironheart. Keep an eye out for the album. It's going to be called Revolution Calls, and we will be looking for a video for a tune called Industrial Slaves. So, David, man, it's been a pleasure getting to talk to you, and I really appreciate you joining us on the MARR Army Rock Show this evening.
Thank you very much for having me. It's much appreciated. I enjoyed it immensely. Thank you.